21-year-old welder dies after being crushed by lorry in East Bank, Demerara. A tragic accident claimed the life of Jeremiah Shamim, a 21-year-old welder, after he was crushed by a motor lorry while riding his bicycle along the Baggotstown Public Road, East Bank, Demerara, EBD, on Friday. Shamim, also known as Nicholas, recently celebrated his 21st birthday on December 31st. He hailed from Baggotstown and had been working as a welder alongside his uncle since the age of 17. According to relatives, Shamim was en route to his uncle's house, located on the opposite side of the village. When the incident occurred around 10:30 a.m., reports indicate that he was waiting near an intersection to cross the roadway when the lorry, attempting to negotiate the intersection, struck him, trapping him beneath the rear wheel. Despite efforts to assist, Shamim was pronounced dead at the scene. The driver of the motor lorry has been arrested and is currently assisting police with their investigation into the incident. Family members and the community are mourning the loss of a young man described as hardworking and dedicated. The investigation is ongoing as authorities seek to clarify the circumstances surrounding this tragic event. Two Burbus men remanded after cannabis bust in East Demerara. Two men from Burbus were remanded to prison following their arrest during a police operation on Thursday at Strathspey Public Road, East Demerara. The men, Travis Thomas, 35, of Glasgow Village, and Trendy Ford, 31, of Heathburn, were charged with possession of 21.5 kilograms of cannabis. When the charges were read to them in Vigilance Magistrates Court on Friday, both men pleaded not guilty. Magistrate Sunil Scare remanded them to prison until March 2, 2026. According to reports, ranks from Regional Division No. 4C were conducting an operation when they intercepted a motor vehicle occupied by the two men. A search of the vehicle revealed a bulky salt bag containing 2 plastic-wrapped parcels of cannabis. The narcotics were subsequently weighed at the Cove and John Police Station, confirming a total of 21.5 kilograms. The investigation is ongoing as authorities continue to address drug-related offenses in the region. Georgetown vendor charged with assaulting visiting content creator released on bail. Kwesi McKay, a 29-year-old vendor from Georgetown, was released on $20,000 bail on Friday after denying 2 charges related to the alleged assault of visiting content creator Anthony D'Oliveira near the La Penitence Market earlier this month. McKay, who operates his vending business at the corner of Water and Cowan Streets, appeared before Chief Magistrate A.G. Faith McGusty at the Georgetown Magistrates Courts. He pleaded not guilty to charges of using assaultive language likely to cause a breach of the peace and unlawfully assaulting D'Oliveira on January 5th at Saffin Street, La Penitence. The prosecution objected to bail, citing public safety concerns, as D'Oliveira is reportedly a visitor to Guyana and works as a YouTuber and travel vlogger. According to allegations, D'Oliveira was filming at the market entrance when he was allegedly slapped on the back of the head and verbally abused. The prosecution indicated that their case would be supported by video footage and a recorded interview. In his response, McKay stated that he had asked D'Oliveira multiple times to stop filming him, expressing discomfort with being recorded. He claimed the situation escalated after his objections were disregarded. Chief Magistrate McGusty acknowledged that while assault cannot be justified, filming individuals without consent can be offensive in certain cultures. She made it clear that 2 wrongs do not make a right and emphasized that D'Oliveira's status as a visitor does not warrant special treatment or physical harm. McKay was granted $10,000 bail on each charge, totaling $20,000, and was placed on a bond to keep the peace. The magistrate noted that the parties do not reside near each other and are ordinarily based in different countries. The matter was adjourned to January 20th. This court appearance follows a public appeal from the Guyana police force, which sought assistance in identifying the individual seen in a viral video involving the visiting vlogger near the La Penitence market. Investigators later confirmed McKay's identity, leading to these proceedings. Gods remanded over attempted murder charge. Ken McPherson, known as Gods, a 32-year-old gold miner from Lot 53, Litchfield Village, West Coast Burbus, has been arrested and charged with attempt to commit murder. The arrest took place on Thursday, August 18, 2025, following a shooting incident involving Shamar Adrian at 14 miles Asano Landing, Middle Mazaruni River. Today, January 9, 2026, McPherson appeared in the Bartica Magistrates Court before Magistrate Tariq Mohammed. The charge was formally read to him, but he was not required to enter a plea for the indictable charge. McPherson was subsequently remanded to prison. The case has been adjourned to February 24, 2026, for further proceedings. Autopsy confirms cause of death for pensioner Michael Raymond Haralal Tamisar. Michael Raymond Haralal Tamisar, the 88-year-old pensioner whose body was discovered on Tuesday, died from heart failure, according to an autopsy report. The post-mortem examination was conducted on Friday at the Memorial Gardens mortuary by government pathologist Dr. Nihal Singh. A release from the police stated that Tamisar passed away sometime between 7 o'clock and 9:38 hours on Tuesday at the Bladen Hall School compound living quarters, East Coast Demerara. He was last seen alive at approximately 7 o'clock by his son, with whom he was residing. Following the discovery of his body, detectives examined it for signs of violence. However, no injuries were identified on the exposed parts of the body. He was subsequently escorted to the Buxton Health Center, where he was pronounced dead. Tamisar was a suspect in the investigation into the death of his wife, Lakandai Tamisar, who was found dead on December 31st with stab wounds to her body. Michael was present at the scene at that time and was arrested and placed in custody during the investigation. The circumstances surrounding both deaths are being closely examined by law enforcement authorities. Businessman Azruddin Mohammed charged with multiple traffic offenses. Businessman Azruddin Mohammed, 38, of Lot 19 Public Road, Houston EBD, has been charged with multiple traffic offenses and granted bail totaling $65,000. According to a release from the Guyana police force, Mohammed was charged on November 14, 2025, at Wim Magistrate Court. The charges include prohibited tinted glass, obscured ID mark, unlicensed motor vehicle, uninsured motor vehicle. The matters were called on several occasions, with Magistrate T. Hardy issuing a summons for Mohammed to appear in court on January 9, 2026. When he appeared in court, the charges were read to him, and he pleaded not guilty to all counts. Bail was granted as follows: prohibited tinted glass, $5,000. Obscured ID mark, $40,000. Unlicensed motor vehicle, $10,000. Uninsured motor vehicle, $10,000. The total bail amount is $65,000. The matter has been postponed to January 30, 2026, for further proceedings. 2 East Coast Demerara men fined for driving under the influence. Omesh Diadit, a 21-year-old resident of Atlantic Gardens, and Sebastian De Freitas, a 35-year-old resident of Earls Court, Laban and Tension, have been arrested and charged with driving under the influence of alcohol. The duo was apprehended on Monday, January 5, 2026, and subsequently charged on Thursday, January 8, 2026. They appeared today at Sparendam Magistrates Court No. 2 before Magistrate Abigail Gibbs, where the charges were read to them. Both defendants pleaded guilty to the charges and were each fined $200,000. Three convicted in Tain pensioner robbery murder sentenced to 35 years. Less than a month after a 12-member jury at the Burbis High Court found 3 men guilty of the robbery murder of 82-year-old Chandri Antideo Budu. Each was sentenced to 35 years in prison on Friday. The convicted men, Danaram Ramdhani, 35, Kumar Bagwandan, 29, and Navindra Chilu, 25, all from Quarantine, were responsible for the fatal attack on Budu, a pensioner from Lot 83 Tain Settlement, Quarantine, Region 6, which occurred on June 16, 2020. Justice Sandil Kissoon handed down the sentences during the Burbis criminal assizes. The prosecution's case was presented by attorney-at-law Cicela Corbin, while Ramdhani and Bagwandan were represented by attorney Kevin Morgan and Chilu by attorneys Vinay Punwa and Chandra Sohan. Following the verdicts, Justice Kissoon ordered that probation reports and psychiatric evaluations be conducted on each of the convicted men. The matter has been adjourned to January 9, 2026, for further proceedings. The prosecution's case heavily relied on testimony from Kevin Mangar, known as Toby/Chubby, who identified himself as a lookout during the robbery. He testified that he was present when the others entered Budu's home and later received $5,000 from the sale of the stolen items. The 3 accused denied involvement and presented alibis, claiming they were not at the crime scene. Ramdhani stated he was drinking with friends in another village, Bagwandan claimed to have been staying at a friend's home, and Chilu insisted he was working and living normally at the time of the incident. The defense also questioned Mangar's credibility, pointing to his criminal history and suggesting that his testimony was fabricated. However, the jury rejected these defenses and found all 3 men guilty of murder in the course of a robbery, concluding that they acted together under a joint plan. TikTok personality Rishai Mangal arrested and released on bail amid controversy. Popular TikTok personality Rishai Mangal, better known online as TikTok Uncle, was arrested by police on Wednesday evening and subsequently released on $100,000 bail on Thursday morning. Mangal's arrest has ignited outrage among his supporters, especially following a viral video posted by entertainer Elsa Lisa. In the video, members of Mangal's fan base rallied for his release, emphasizing his cooperation with authorities and asserting that he posed no threat or exhibited violent behavior. The arrest appears to be linked to a notice issued by the Ethnic Relations Commission, ERC, which identified Mangal as a person of interest and requested that he make contact with the agency. However, the specific reasons behind the ERC's interest in Mangal remain unclear at this time. According to the ERC's notice, the public advisory was issued after 3 or more unsuccessful attempts to reach the individuals named, including Mangal, Tyrese Algernon, and Orlando Xavier Ferreira. The Commission has reiterated its urgent request for these individuals to contact them to discuss matters currently under review. As the situation unfolds, Mangal supporters continue to express their solidarity, calling for transparency regarding the ERC's actions and the circumstances surrounding his arrest. Guyana Police Force releases preliminary crime and traffic statistics for 2025. The Guyana Police Force, GPF, has reported that 130 murders and 124 accidents resulting in 137 road traffic deaths were recorded for the year 2025. In a statement, the force emphasized that annual crime and traffic statistics undergo a structured process of compilation, verification, and approval before being made public. This procedure is critical to ensure that all figures are accurate, complete, and fully reconciled across all divisions. Although provisional data and crime trends were presented during the Christmas policing briefing in November 2025, the reporting year had not yet formally closed, and the information was still subject to final verification at that time. The GPF reiterated its commitment to providing accurate and verifiable information to the media, ensuring that the public receives reliable statistics regarding crime and traffic safety in Guyana. Guyana mourns the loss of trailblazing FIFA referee Mour Skeet. Sports journalist Raul Tony highlights, the Guyana sporting fraternity is in deep mourning following the passing of former FIFA referee Mour Skeet, who lost her courageous battle with cancer. Skeet's journey in sports was marked by excellence and discipline, showcasing her commitment both on and off the field. A proud member of the Guyana Defense Force, where she served as a warrant officer Class 2, Skeet embodied the values of service, integrity, and dedication in every arena she entered. Just last October, the GDF celebrated and honored her relentless fight against breast cancer, highlighting her strength and resilience. Skeet became a FIFA-accredited international referee in 2014 and remained on the FIFA list for several years. Her consistent performance earned her multiple Referee of the Year awards from the Guyana Football Federation. In 2015, she made history as the only female official from the Caribbean nominated for the CONCACAF Female Referee of the Year award. Throughout her career, Skeet officiated prestigious matches across CFU and CONCACAF women's tournaments and took charge of significant local men's games in Guyana, including the renowned Kashif and Shanghai tournament. Her commitment to professional growth was evident as she actively participated in the FIFA Referees Assistance Program, RAP, always aspiring to elevate the standards of officiating. Before her notable career in refereeing, Skeet was an accomplished athlete in her own right. She represented Guyana as a national rugby player, selected for the Women's 7 squad in 2010 to defend their RAN championship title. She also participated in national basketball tryouts, showcasing her versatile sporting talents. Mour Skeet broke barriers, inspired countless young women, and served her country with honor, both in sport and in military service. Her legacy will endure through the fields she officiated, the athletes she inspired, and the high standards she established. "In eternal peace, my friend," said Raul Tony in a heartfelt tribute on Facebook. "It was a privilege knowing you personally for years and watching you represent Linden in basketball and football as a player. Guyana thanks you, honors you, and will never forget your contribution." Road fatalities increased slightly in 2025. Traffic chief raises concerns. The Guyana traffic chief, Mahendra Singh, reported that a total of 124 fatal road accidents resulting in 137 deaths were recorded in 2025, indicating a slight increase compared to the previous year. In 2024, there were 117 fatal accidents leading to 132 deaths. Speaking with the newsroom on Friday, Singh highlighted that while the rise in numbers may seem minimal, it still poses a significant concern. Even though the increase is small, it is still an increase, because one death or one fatal accident is one too many, he emphasized. According to Singh, speeding and driver inattentiveness remain the leading causes of these fatal accidents. He explained that many drivers lose control of their vehicles due to excessive speed, particularly in unfamiliar areas. As a result of speeding, drivers often lose control and collide with multiple vehicles, or their vehicles turn turtle, leading to the deaths of themselves or other road users, he stated. Recognizing the persistent trend of speeding, authorities are currently rolling out the Safe Road Intelligence System, which includes speed cameras nationwide. Singh affirmed that law enforcement agencies will continue their traffic enforcement efforts and road safety education initiatives. However, he stressed that meaningful change ultimately hinges on the drivers themselves. At the end of the day, personal responsibility will determine the level of discipline with which the road is used, along with voluntary compliance by drivers, Singh asserted. He warned that without greater discipline and acknowledgement of responsibility by motorists, there will be minimal change in attitudes or behaviors on the country's roads. If there isn't compliance and a greater level of discipline in how the roads are used, then there would be no real change, Singh cautioned. Attorney General announces plans for statutory framework to regulate juries in Guyana. Anil Nandlal, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, has revealed that discussions are underway with the acting Chancellor of the Judiciary, Justice Roxanne George, to establish a statutory framework to regulate juries in Guyana. He noted that the current regulations governing juries are outdated and lack a proper statutory basis. The Chancellor and I are discussing some type of statutory framework to regulate juries and the ways juries function, Nandlal stated during remarks at a ceremony organized by UNDP, where $400,000 worth of IT equipment and software was handed over to the judiciary, the Ministry of Home Affairs, and various law enforcement agencies. Speaking on the sidelines of the event at UNDP's office on Duke Street, Kingston, Nandlal emphasized that Guyana might be unique in having a jury system without a firm statutory footing. He remarked, "Countries have gone in that direction, and Guyana may be the only country that has this free framework without a firm statutory footing, and I think we should correct that." The Attorney General further elaborated on the need to revamp the jury pool, which he described as old and outdated. "We have dozens of new companies that have been incorporated and new agencies established that are not in the jury pool," he said. He added that many countries have established frameworks for jury operations that include oaths of office and legal protections for jurors. Nandlal highlighted the necessity of creating clear provisions to accommodate jurors during their duties, suggesting that various factors need to be considered as the regulation overhaul progresses. Additionally, he announced that the government plans to present a new evidence bill to the National Assembly, along with other legislative initiatives, in the coming months. This move is part of the government's broader efforts to modernize the legal framework in Guyana. ERC investigates racial remarks allegedly made by businessman Nazar Mohammed. The Ethnic Relations Commission, ERC, has announced that its Media Monitoring Unit MMU has noted a video circulating on social media dated January 8, 2026, in which businessman Nazar Mohammed allegedly made concerning racial remarks. In a statement, the ERC confirmed that the MMU has captured and recorded the statements in question as part of its ongoing monitoring activities. The Commission emphasized that any remarks promoting ethnic hostility, prejudice, or discrimination fall within its constitutional mandate. The ERC's release stated, "In keeping with established protocols honoring due process and fairness, the matter is currently engaging the attention of the ERC's investigative unit." They assured the public that updates would be provided as investigations progress. The ERC reiterated its commitment to fostering harmony, mutual respect, and peaceful coexistence among all ethnic groups in Guyana. Preparation for 2026 national budget underway amid opposition concerns. The preparation of the 2026 national budget has commenced, but the opposition coalition APNU is voicing concerns over a perceived lack of consultation regarding the budget plans and programs. The budget is expected to be presented to the National Assembly by the end of January or early February. Aubrey Norton, chairman of APNU and leader of the PNC reform, expressed apprehension over the government's resource allocation strategies during the coalition's weekly press conference on Friday. The fundamental problem we face is the skewed allocation of resources into programs and projects that allow family friends and favorites to get rich, Norton stated. He questioned the government's ability to produce a budget that genuinely serves the interests of the people of Guyana, asserting, "It is very difficult for them to change that paradigm." Norton expressed skepticism regarding the Irfan Ali administration's commitment to equity in its budget development. The 2025 national budget, pegged at $1.382 trillion, marked a 20.6% increase compared to the previous year, contributing more than $2.5 billion in oil revenues to the national coffers. While the government has touted advancements in infrastructure development, Norton criticized what he termed reckless spending of oil resources amid ongoing societal challenges for citizens. He pointed out that between September 2024 and September 2025, the government spent 89% of its earned oil revenues, which resulted in only marginal growth of the Natural Resource Fund, NRF. Attempts by the Minister of Finance to boast about the size of the NRF deliberately mislead the public. The reality is stark. Had it not been for statutory restrictions, the fund would have nearly depleted under this wasteful administration. This is not fiscal stewardship. It is wastefulness, incompetence, and corruption masked by selective storytelling, Norton asserted. APNU insists that a portion of the country's oil wealth should be reserved for future generations and difficult times. They argue for strategic investments and transparent management of resources to uplift all Guyanese, rather than allowing rapid consumption to support a government lacking a long-term economic vision. Norton further noted that the current situation is compounded by potential negative economic impacts on trade due to recent geopolitical developments within the Latin America and Caribbean region. Traffic Chief warns motorists against improper parking. Traffic Chief Mahendra Singh has issued a stern warning to motorists regarding improper parking along roadways. In an interview with the newsroom on Friday, Singh stated that vehicles parked beyond the road shoulder and into the driving lane will face ticketing or charges for obstruction or dangerous parking. Enforcement measures have already commenced. We have already started. We have been doing some things, Singh noted, highlighting the urgency of the issue. The traffic chief explained that while the Guyana police force is responsible for identifying offenses and issuing necessary charges or tickets, other agencies, including the Neighborhood Democratic Council, NDC, are also involved in addressing the problem. There are other people involved in the equation where these vehicles are encumbering the roadway. The NDC will play a role, but we would play the greater role, he said. Singh expressed confusion as to why vehicle owners would choose to park improperly, reminding drivers of their responsibility to ensure their vehicles are parked safely. I don't know why owners would want to take the opportunity, he added. He reiterated the police force's commitment to continuous enforcement against improper parking, emphasizing the importance of road safety and smooth traffic flow. If persons park in such a way that they exceed the road shoulder and venture into the drive lane, they will be ticketed or charged for obstruction or dangerous parking, Singh warned. Extradition proceedings for Azruddin and Nazar Mohammed adjourned amid disclosure controversy. The extradition proceedings involving businessman Azruddin Mohammed and his father, Nazar Mohammed, were adjourned on Thursday to February 5th and 6th, following a ruling that no further disclosures would be permitted in the case. Magistrate Judy Latchman, presiding over the committal hearing, emphasized that the case is not a game of chess, as she ordered the closure of all disclosures. The ruling came after the prosecution attempted to introduce a statement from Minister of Foreign Affairs Hugh Todd, which had been emailed to defense attorneys just a day prior. Under Section 6 of Guyana's Fugitive Offenders Act, a certificate from the Minister for Foreign Affairs can serve as evidence confirming existing extradition arrangements with the UK or other treaty territories, thereby playing a crucial role in extradition cases. Nazar Mohammed is represented by attorneys Cyan Durjan and Jumanyasin da Silva, while Azruddin Mohammed is represented by attorney Roysdale Ford, SC. During Thursday's hearing, defense attorney Ford reiterated previous objections, arguing that the prosecution had not satisfied the requirement to provide corresponding local charges to substantiate the extradition request. He insisted that the prosecution's presentation merely listed alleged acts and statutory sections, failing to meet the necessary legal threshold. The controversy intensified over the one-page statement from Minister Todd, which the defense described as a new and impermissible disclosure introduced after proceedings had commenced. Durjan argued that the statement seemed to attempt to patch and close a gap in the prosecution's evidence, especially since foundational evidence required for the minister's certificate had not been properly established previously. He further pointed out that this was the third time additional documents had been disclosed without court approval, labeling the action an ambush that would necessitate the defense to reorganize its case. Urging the magistrate to formally close disclosure at this stage, he sought a firm undertaking from the requesting state regarding the full extent of the material relied upon for extradition. In response, the prosecution, represented by attorney Terrence Williams, KC, maintained that the disclosure was made out of an abundance of caution after receiving new material. He argued that there was no legal obligation for the prosecution to seek permission before disclosing additional material, as the law permits a minister's certificate to be tendered without needing the minister as a witness. Magistrate Latchman ultimately ruled that the minister's statement would be allowed to be filed and served to the defense, but made it clear that this would constitute the final disclosure in the case. This is not a case of chess, she reiterated, instructing that all statements must be correctly filed and served, with no further disclosures to be entertained. The defense was granted an adjournment to consider the newly introduced material, while Williams characterized the issue as a big song and dance over a very trivial formal issue, asserting that the statement simply fulfilled a statutory requirement. However, Durjan countered that this latest disclosure revealed significant gaps in the prosecution's case that had come to light only after cross-examinations began. Special prosecutor seeks earlier dates for extradition hearing involving Nazar and Azruddin Mohammed. News source Guyana reports in the ongoing extradition case concerning Nazar and Azruddin Mohammed, Special Prosecutor Terrence Williams has requested that the Georgetown Magistrates Court reschedule the hearing to an earlier date than previously agreed upon. Principal Magistrate Judy Latchman had initially set the case for February 5th and 6th, 2026. After Williams cited his unavailability for the originally proposed date of January 20th due to a trial starting on January 19th. The committal proceedings were briefly adjourned on Thursday after the prosecution introduced fresh evidence, while the first witness was preparing to return to the stand. As Magistrate Latchman was ready to adjourn the case, she proposed a continuation on January 20th. However, Williams informed the court of his conflict, leading to the agreement for February dates. In a letter addressed to Clerk of Court Destiny Woodman, Williams now seeks to have the hearing moved to an earlier date, stating his request is made with respect for the court's processes. In the circumstances, and with due respect for the court's processes, we respectfully ask that Her Worship considers convening, with notice to all parties, to the earliest fixture hearing date that is convenient to all parties and the court's diary, he wrote. However, defense attorneys have expressed their unavailability for the earlier dates now proposed. They explained that after the prosecution's initial agreement on the February dates, they committed to other engagements, including significant post-cancer treatments requiring 2 weeks of convalescence. The defense team stated, "Each is unavoidably bound by certain engagements which can admit of no rearrangement and would, in any event, be absent from the Georgetown jurisdiction for a major portion of the suggested period." The court is now faced with deciding on the way forward regarding the scheduling of this high-profile case. $150,000 bail, suspended licenses, fines, and jail sentences as police crack down on traffic offenses. The Guyana police force has ramped up enforcement against dangerous driving, resulting in multiple motorists being charged, fined, and brought before the courts this week for offenses captured by traffic cameras, including speeding and third-lane violations. These measures are part of the continued rollout of the Safe Road Intelligence System, SRIS, a joint initiative of the National Data Management Authority, NDMA, and the Guyana Police Force, which employs automated cameras and data-driven monitoring to identify traffic violations and support legal action through the courts. On Wednesday, January 7, 2026, several drivers appeared at Sparendam Magistrates Court No. 2 and Georgetown Magistrates Court No. 7 to respond to charges of dangerous driving, presided over by Her Worship Ms. Abigail Gibbs and Her Worship Ms. S. Lalram, respectively. Notable cases before Her Worship Ms. Abigail Gibbs. Junior Mackenzie, minibus BAF 6744, charged with 2 counts of dangerous driving, fined $100,000. Orrin Harper, minibus BPP 3825, faced 2 counts of dangerous driving, fined $100,000. Hemraj Ramphal, minibus BE 7621, pleaded not guilty, granted bail of $150,000. Matter adjourned to February 26, 2026, for statements. Harish Luknoth, BAC 2361, Silas Gibson, BAE 3131, Mike McGarrell, BAJ 4071, and Keshav Lockman, BAH 8423, each fined $50,000 for dangerous driving. Several cases were adjourned due to the absence of defendants, including those involving Odinga McDonald, Dasrat Merchant, and Kelvin Hardy, all drivers of minibuses. These cases are rescheduled for February 3, 2026. Cases before Her Worship Ms. S. Lalram. Trevor Peters, BZZ 9177, and Mahadio Mangra, BAM 3367, each fined $50,000 or face 10 weeks imprisonment. Leroy Jonas, minibus BAL 5912, faced 2 counts of dangerous driving, fined $100,000 or 20 weeks imprisonment. Driver's license suspended for 6 months. Hensley Aline, BAC 8810, and Raymond Clement, BAK 1075, were absent when their cases were called. The Traffic Department has indicated that further cases concerning unpaid speeding tickets identified through the SRIS traffic camera system are expected to come before the courts. Motorists are reminded that failing to attend court when summoned may lead to additional legal repercussions, including the issuance of warrants. The Traffic Department reiterated that dangerous driving, particularly third-lane violations and offenses detected via traffic cameras, endangers lives and will be met with stringent action. Motorists are urged to adhere to traffic laws, maintain lane discipline, and drive responsibly.